Howdy, everybody. We're back for another episode of Main Street. We got about 6 minutes left in this Miami Notre Dame game, but we're just going to power through, talk some football, watch some football. Best part about it is we still got another game tomorrow. We got Bill Belichick and the North Carolina Tar Heels taking on TCU to kind of end this long weekend. But, man, what a weekend it's been.
Yeah, what a way to start the first full week of the college football season, man. Like, I was here for it. I probably sat in this chair the majority of the weekend.
Yeah, I've been in the recliner downstairs, the couch upstairs, the chair, the computer. One point I had like both TVs, the iPad, the laptop, my wife's work computers, just so I could just watch like 9 games at a time. It was awesome.
Yep. Multiple devices streaming multiple games at the same time because there was a ton of games that had held a lot of interest. So,
yeah, I think we can jump right in right there because obviously we've been kind of tracking some group of 5 teams, and we got started off with a bang. First game Thursday at 4:30 our time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That Boise State game, man, just to kick things off. That was just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I knew losing Genty was going to be a big deal, but I expected more out of Madsen, I guess, and just Danielson I thought would have a better game plan, but them boys in South Florida came up ready to play. You've been a big Byron Brown fan. So
Yeah, maybe not so much on the podcast yet this year, but like through the course of, NCAA 25 coming out a year ago, and Byron Brown was a pretty big playmaker on the game, and they had him as an 80 something overall, or I don't know. But in any case, like, you knew he had athletic ability. You knew he brought leadership to a team that, is traditionally not, near the top of the conversation with G5. But man, they kind of kicked off the year to make it be like, hey, we're ready for 2007 again.
Yeah, it was awesome. And that kind of what led us into our weekend is all of a sudden group of 5's wide open because so many people had written in Boise State for that group of 5 spot, and there's a lot of football to go still, obviously, but man, definitely a lot more interesting.
Yeah, and you like to see a good group of 5 race too, with multiple teams being in that mix. Last year it was largely the Ashton Genty and Boise State show, and man, something about that game though is South Florida's defense. They were flying around to the ball. Like, Maddox Madsen had no time to really set his feet and throw the ball, and their run game couldn't get going. They clearly missed Genty. And typically you don't see Boise State's offensive line get pushed around, do you?
No. So that was something that definitely caught all our eyes. I actually didn't watch the second half of that game because we both went and watched Nebraska-Cincinnati, which could be the next game we talk about. But what I did get to see of that game was just kind of South Florida inserting its dominance and suffocating Boise State.
Yeah. Again, they flew around the ball. They had a great atmosphere there in Tampa. Tampa, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know. Like, between them and Tulane, Tulane got a big win this weekend too over Big Ten Northwestern. But the crazy thing with schedule is that South Florida has to play both Florida and Miami, and those are coming up here in September, I believe. So they're going to be pushed and tested probably at a level beyond what Boise State could give. But the way that South Florida played, I think that those two teams, Florida and Miami, are both going to be probably on alert of what South Florida can bring to the table.
Do you want to move on to the second game of Thursday and talk a little bit about Nebraska and Cincinnati?
Yeah, I'm just going to quickly kind of say a couple things that I had notes on, obviously. So, one thing about Cincinnati, and this is largely a message to Husker fans, is that their reactions to the game were largely negative from the standpoint of thinking that they should have beaten or entitled to beating Cincinnati by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Now, the thing that we have to understand, and I know that I've been corrected on this multiple times when I've said this, but Cincinnati, they brought back a top 15 group in production on offense, returning from a year ago. And then they also beat Arizona State, who was in the national quarterfinal and pushed Texas last year. Now, I understand that Jeff Sims, former Nebraska quarterback for 3 games or 4 games or whatever, was the starter for Arizona State in that game. But if you go back and look at the box score, he didn't turn the ball over. He was actually semi-efficient in that game, and Cincinnati largely handled Arizona State. So Cincinnati's obviously got the capability to play a good style, explosive offense.
Yeah.
With Brendan Sorsby, he showed it with his legs. So I think
which
that's
we talked about when we were previewing the game. Like, the 2 guys you got to watch out for in this game are Sorsby and Corleone, and Sorsby and Corleone both had terrific games.
Yeah, and I'll throw this out with our buddy Levi. He kind of made the comment that, okay, hold on, Notre Dame's making a huge play here. Okay. Anyway, this is the part where you do a podcast during an actual game. You're going to have a little pause and then break here. So anyway, our buddy Levi, he was saying how he was kind of shocked how the tight end Royer didn't get involved a little more, which I would have to agree with, because that's a weapon that Cincinnati has that didn't get utilized as much as they would probably have liked to. So.
And I knew about Tawi Walker. We both knew about Tawi Walker at Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought Cincinnati could have utilized him a lot more.
Sure. And it's kind of interesting because Cincinnati averaged 7 yards a carry almost, or something close to it. So I'm kind of surprised that largely that was Brendan Sorsby on scrambles. And they clearly wanted to throw the ball. I mean, they only had 69 yards passing. That's insanely low. But I was surprised that they didn't utilize the run game a little more. But you look at time of possession, Nebraska had it almost 40 minutes to Cincinnati's 20.
Yeah.
So, and there's the Notre Dame touchdown to tie it up. 3 minutes to go.
And now to the Nebraska side. Obviously, they were great against the pass.
Mm-hmm.
The run defense has some work to do. Mm-hmm. But it's game 1, and we'll see what happens as far as stopping a dual threat quarterback, because they got 2 weeks to figure it out before Underwood comes to town.
Yeah, and he didn't look like he was quite the level of a runner as what Sorsby was and some of the other quarterbacks we saw around the country. Thank God we don't have to see Thomas Castellanos or Devin Dampier, because both of those guys were freaking ridiculous this weekend.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later.
And then obviously, offensively, I thought, so I know I have said it and Colin said it, but I think we mean it in different ways. When I say that they ran kind of a basic game plan, yes, they ran a lot of plays, but as far as building off of those plays, like we're going to run this zone, and then we're going to do play action off it. We never really saw a whole lot of play action. We never really saw a whole lot of any consistency in the play calling. What did you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Dana Holgerson obviously brought changes to the offense. And maybe those are wrinkles that we haven't quite seen, but largely the offense felt very similar to me as what we saw a year ago under Satterfield. I just don't buy. I know, again, this is just a kind of clarify on some of that I don't buy the idea that we were saving anything for down the road
I agree with that.
in a game with and so keeping it vanilla and not using play action, I think that just goes to the show. We ran a lot of RPO, so RPO, is it true play action? No, but it's still play action in my opinion on quick reads. And the thing that's disappointing to me is not so much the underutilization of play action, is more that they did not stretch the field vertically as much as they probably could have. Now, Colin made a mention of this the other night, that they ran a 3-2-6. So obviously they were in a dime of package of sorts most of the time, bringing hybrid safeties into the box and bailing and all that kind of stuff with a big umbrella coverage. But, either way, you still got to take those shots, try to push it down the field, just to open up the run game more, because the more you can get those guys playing on their heels and defense, the better you're going to have opportunities to run the ball. So that was something I look forward to moving forward.
And we won't get to see a whole lot of new facets of the offense the next 2 weeks, I doubt, with Akron and Houston Christian coming to town. But
yeah, and one thing about the pushing the ball down the field, I did some research after that game because I wanted to be. I just felt like I was like, man, 243 yards passing on 33 completions, not attempts, for 33 completions. Yeah. That's a low number, and so that was it's under 8 yards per completion, and that would have ranked last in the Power 4 conferences among starting quarterbacks for the season a year ago. So, and it would have been by almost a full yard.
Yeah.
So they have to find a way to be able to push the ball down the field. That'll open up the running game even more.
Be interesting to see where we go from here, but biggest changes, they say, comes between weeks 1 and 2. So we'll see how it's there. I think the definite thing is EJ cannot be having 35 touches a game, or he will not last.
No, and it's pretty obvious we don't have much depth behind him because of the didn't spread any carries out. I think we gave 1 carry to a piece to some backups.
Mackay had 2 and Mosey had 2.
Okay, so in any case, and I don't want to try to make this the Nebraska show.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add on to that is I'm curious where Barney was health-wise, because he did not look the same after that shot he took on the crossing route.
When he got twisted up.
Yeah, when we both thought he blew a knee.
Yeah, and actually, when you look at the replay, it's more the ankles getting pinned underneath than it is the knee, which is, either one's going to suck and hurt your mobility a little bit. So whether it's minor or not, it hampered him the rest of the game. So
and that's our Nebraska talk for today.
One thing.
Okay.
And this is not Nebraska. I want to say keep an eye on Cincinnati, though, because they unfortunately are not going to be tested until I think it's September 27th, or the last game in September, when they play Kansas. They play at Kansas. That's when we will truly see how tough Cincinnati is, because I do believe that they are going to be a lot better than probably the typical Husker fan thought.
Well, if they quit false starting, they could go a long way.
Mm-hmm.
They got to clean up penalties.
Yeah.
But to go into Friday, there was a lot of good action Friday. What was probably your favorite game?
Well, it's obviously Georgia Tech, Colorado.
Yeah.
It was the storylines of Haynes King, specifically from our point of view, how high we are on them. Yeah. And I think the country's starting to pick up on that a little bit more now that the season has gotten here. But I also like the storyline of Colorado and how Dion and Colorado is going to move on from Shedeur and Travis Hunter.
Well, and we talked about that in our preview. Colorado's got a good offensive line.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and they brought in Caden Salter from Liberty, and I actually thought he played okay. He brings athletic ability in the pocket that Shedeur didn't have.
Yes.
So he can extend plays a little better. He's got to work on some accuracy issues.
Oh, yeah.
But I do like their weapons, and I
So
actually think the Colorado is going to be a pretty good team this year. Because
I know Salter's been there a while, not a while, but a couple months. How much of that is getting used to playing in Boulder with the thin air, the ball traveling a little bit different?
mm-hmm,
And obviously he's been there, he's practiced, he's been throwing there for 3 or 4 months now.
mm-hmm.
So obviously he knows how it's going to be. But when it comes to a game situation, do you think that had anything to do with the passes, or was that just Georgia Tech getting pressure?
Well, I think it's just first game jitters, really.
Yeah.
I mean, because you go from being the starting quarterback to being the starting quarterback at Colorado, who
Yeah.
obviously they've had their ups and downs and stuff through their history, but they're a Power Four conference, program, and
Yeah.
they've been to the top,
Yep.
So I mean, they're not they're not a Duke. They are not North Carolina. Like Colorado is a
We're going to hit
program.
on Duke in a minute, in a little bit.
Yeah. Colorado's a program that I think should be regarded as nearer the top, than they are to the bottom, I guess, in proximity. So, but yeah, first game jitters for sure. And, the comment that Dion had, who knows, maybe after the second quarter,
Yeah.
he said that the whole stadium was just decided to hit the pin, right when.
Yeah.
So maybe that affected Salter.
There's Salter and Colorado. Where do we begin with Haynes King? Besides that dude's just a dog, dude.
He is the epitome of tough.
You could not have asked for a worse start to a football game, even if you tried.
Yeah.
First series fumble, second series fumble, third series interception, and the defense kept him in the game. It was still only 7-0.
Well, and those were just bad snaps. Like that was not so much on Haynes King. I mean, even the ones that he was corralling, he was having to reach to the right, reach to the left. They were never hitting him square.
And there was a couple he was picking up off his shoe tops.
Yep. I mean, they were all over the place. But man, what a gutsy performance by him. He had 156 yards rushing and another 130 or something through the air. Yeah. Maybe that number's flipped, but
no, he had 156 rushing and 3 on the ground, 3 touchdowns on the ground.
I know he had 299 total. He was a yard off of 300 total yards. So, and he capped it off with that late
143 passing, 156 rushing.
Yeah. So, just a ridiculous performance to start the year. And I think just like we said, Georgia Tech's poised to have a good year. So.
Yeah. The other game Friday night, and this is where I wanted to go with which one you're more excited. Sawyer Robertson threw for 413 yards, and I think it was 3 touchdowns, and lost. Because Haynes King Jr. down there at Auburn put the team on his back, Jackson Arnold, and you've been on this Jackson Arnold train for a couple weeks now. Like, this kid's going to be something.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I didn't get to see a lot of that game because the way my configuration was here at the time, I was watching the Colorado-Georgia Tech game, and I had to go around the corner to kind of go follow the Auburn game. So I didn't get to see all of it, but just from the texting that you guys said and seeing his stat line and then his highlights, like he clearly is going to be involved in the run game too. And I like what Auburn's doing offensively, and they've got weapons, especially at wide receiver. That's a dangerous group, and they proved it in Waco.
Yeah, and it was even there late. I mean, we're sitting there like, oh crap, here come the Bears. And every time just Auburn get the ball back, methodically move down the field. Jackson Arnold would tuck the ball, run 6-7 yards, pick up first down, and just chew that clock.
Mm-hmm.
Because if Sawyer Robertson got the ball back, he was scoring. But Auburn chewed the clock, made the plays when they needed to. And I think the big thing, and it's what happened to Auburn last year that didn't happen on Friday, you didn't see the big turnover or the big mistake.
Right.
The getting 3rd and 7, passing for a 10-yard first down, but they get a holding. Now all of a sudden it's 3rd and 20. You didn't see stuff like that, or
And sometimes that's just having the right guy at leading the charge in at quarterback to kind of changes the dynamic and the demeanor of the rest of the team to be a little bit more focused, to be a little bit more disciplined, So like as the leader of the group demands excellence, you'll see the offensive line perform better, So it was good to see. It's good for Jackson Arnold too to have a good debut after leaving Oklahoma.
Yeah, I was happy for him. Saturday, actually, I want to hit on something right here. It's something we were texting about Friday. Men, it is okay if you shed a tear on Saturday morning.
Yeah,
the last 30 years, we have grown up every Saturday morning looking for the headgear. And yes, we've all joked in the past 5 or 6 years, like, this should probably be his final year. But to Saturday morning actually sit there and just take it all in, like, holy crap, not only is this like the end of Lee Corso, if that was the last headgear, ESPN's already come out and said there's no more headgears. Like, that was Lee Corso's thing. They're not doing it anymore, which I understand. I'm in agreement with. I'm sure you're the same way. Like,
absolutely.
That can't be recreated.
Right.
And then I thought it was really cool on Fox because Lee Corso isn't just an ESPN. He transcended college football as a player, as a coach, as an analyst. And for Fox to cut in and show his final headgear as well, I thought that was really cool.
I agree with you, and not to segue it so much, but like I really think that Lee Corso was at the heart of how the game changed from a media perspective because they kept talking about this weekend, like it's entertainment, it's not so serious. And as more and more people tune in to see what was going on in College Game Day every Saturday morning, that kind of shifted, like, dude, we want to pay attention. So I think that also helped move along the idea of covering all these games. And Miami just took a lead.
Miami took the lead.
Minute left. So, all right. Yeah. Geez. Okay. So anyway, what a great weekend for Lee Corso in that anybody that's listening or watching this right now, and you haven't seen the Lee Corso little special they had on ESPN from a couple weeks ago.
Not so fast, my friend.
Yeah,
you can still watch it on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, go watch that and then see if you can. And if you haven't watched his last selection when they were in Ohio State in the shoe, like that was insane too. Like I was, admittedly, was a freaking mess because my entire childhood was based on getting up on Saturday morning to watch college
football. Biggest part that got me Saturday morning, and I tweeted it out, is when they brought Fowler back. Because growing up, it was Fowler, Corso, Herbstreit. And when they had the trio there, just reminiscing on old times and joking about all the times Corso had to correct them too, is like, man, it's just brings back a lot of childhood memories. And I'm with you. It's great to see Corso one more time. And now he gets to sit at home with his grandkids and watch college football. And I'm sure there will be some way, if he's healthy enough, I think he might make like a guest appearance for the national championship or something like that. Not a headgear pick necessarily, but
sure. I didn't even think about that. I'm not sure what would happen there, but like I don't hate that take at all in terms of a prediction. Like, that sounds like something they would do, or at least like a postseason playoff thing or whatever. But
so we're going to talk about a lot of these games, but on Saturday, all 6 teams Lee Corso played for or coached won.
Yeah.
And then his favorite team, who we're going to talk about right now, he's put on the Brutus head 49 times. Saturday, he puts on the Brutus head. And oh boy, did we have ourselves a football game between Ohio State and Texas. And for all the talk about Arch Manning's ready for this, what are we going to get out of Julian Sand? Julian Sand was the one that was ready, and what are we going to see from Arch? Because that that was
definitely a wild game and an unexpected result from all the hype that was surrounding Arch Manning.
Yeah.
Again,
I'll defend Arch on one thing. That's the best defensive backfield he's going to face all year.
Oh, absolutely.
The corners and safeties that Ohio State has. But did it also feel like to you that Sarkisian he could have opened it up more?
Yeah, I mean, so I just watched a bit, and you might have seen this too. It was at halftime of this game, I believe, and they were going over the Texas game, and they were talking about Matt Patricia and the move to Columbus for him, as the defensive coordinator, and how he was disguising coverages left and right, and really it came down to them running a cover 6 concept, which is cover 2 on one side and cover 4 on the other. And then they were locking up man to man with another guy down below. Yeah. And so they were having 3-on-2 advantages with defenders versus receivers all over the place the whole game. And really just no real opportunities for Arch to slide in a really good or have any open receivers, So it really came down to, I don't think so much maybe Arch Manning's skill set. Everybody wants to talk about how he's inaccurate, which is true. He was not very accurate. But it came down to Sarkisian and Patricia and the chess match that ultimately ensued in that game. And Patricia obviously ultimately won that. So
yeah, because what was it? During the Clemson LSU game, they kept hitting on 37% of his passes were inaccurate.
Mm-hmm.
There was some weird stat like that, but he was running for his life. That Texas O-line was, and we previewed that everyone was talking about how much Ohio State had to replace, and Texas, they had to replace just as much.
Yeah. Dame's got, 8 seconds left. 7, 6. Sorry. Yeah. I think Miami just won this game.
Yeah.
Holy crap, didn't get the snap off? They did. Sorry, folks, we're going to pop. Oh, no, they didn't get it off. Game's over. Yep, okay. Miami beats Notre Dame.
That's Mario Cristobal won the big game.
The third top 8 loss on the weekend.
Hey.
So, anyway, where were we?
The one stat we said on Wednesday, Notre Dame was for 6. The last 6 games they went to Miami.
Now 0 for 7. Holy crap. That's crazy. That is crazy, dude.
Man, I let you guys talk me into changing my pick. And now I feel bad because I was having a really good weekend. But
that's the first win versus a top 10 opponent since 2017 for Miami.
Dang.
So.
Well, we'll jump in. We talked about Arch, but that whole Ohio State-Texas game, defensive battle, a lot of where was I going to that? Good defense and just like you were talking about with the chess match on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
But
I just feel like they didn't quite open up enough. Obviously, it's kind of interesting because who was the announcers that game? Oh, Joel Klatt.
Yeah.
So Joel Klatt, at one point was like, "Oh, I just feel like they're gonna throw it down to Carnell Tate eventually." Sometime in the fourth quarter, and literally 3 plays later, that's when they scored and to go up 14-0 on that touchdown, that double catch type thing. But that was really the only time I really felt like they pushed things down the field. But they have a young quarterback, first time start too. It was a weird game. This game could be completely different in December or in January. So,
how often are we going to see Jeremiah Smith drop the first 2 passes thrown to him? Hits him right in the hands.
Right. Yeah.
It was like you texted me. It's like all week we've been hearing about the Arch Manning Jeremiah Smith show. Mm-hmm. And both of them just completely shit the bed out of the gate.
Yeah, and it's it wasn't like they, I don't know, obviously they are great players.
Yeah.
But I kept saying, why do we as media people and fans just make these like crazy, proclamations for certain players, and that's specifically toward Arch because we already know what Jeremiah Smith is.
Yeah.
Like
he's already proved it.
He's already proved it. Arch has not. And so like, man, this was the whole storyline going in, like all the pressure in the world that he had to perform. And you could tell like, as much as that was scheme and stuff, you could tell the pressure was still getting to him. I think that's obviously the inaccuracy that was ultimately a problem too. So.
And I do want to clap back at all the people writing Arch off. I think Arch will be fine.
Yeah.
Like I hit on, that's the best defensive back group he's going to go against the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Miss me with all the SEC BS. That group, that group that they have, the best defensive player in the country with Downs.
Caleb Downs, yeah.
Yeah, and then Sunseri, like, they got a.
Now, I will say that I would agreed with you 100% prior to last night.
Yeah.
I would actually argue now with the defense that LSU put on the field that now they're not better than Ohio State.
No, I get what you're saying.
Secondary. But they are athletic on the back end and in the front, in the box, so I think LSU has an argument this year, which is crazy because they've typically given up tons of points and they may have just found the answer to Brian Kelly's issues, which I'm sure you didn't want to hear about anyway.
Yeah. Well, the answer is Blake Baker.
Yeah.
Like, they hired him last year. He's got his defense installed now. He's healthy. Mm-hmm. If you watch the SEC documentary, them Weeks brothers are a couple badass dudes.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun watching them. And then, obviously, the big difference is getting I'm drawing a blank on the kid's name, but the transfer from Houston, getting him in the second half, and he made a huge difference.
Yeah.
He was suspended because of getting kicked out of the bowl game. And then he gets to come in and play.
Was that the kid? Was that number 7?
Yeah.
The hybrid guy that they kept talking about? The one that was the spy on the quarterback.
Yeah.
And, I can't remember his name either. But, man, he was a difference maker.
But, yeah, that's kind of my final thoughts on Texas, Ohio State. Mm-hmm. I think both these teams they'll be in their conversation for the playoff at the end of the year. Then we went into the afternoon game, and I think all of us were taken aback.
Dude, so good. So good. And I know that this hurts our prediction we're still in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't look like Alabama can win a title, but geez, nobody thought Ohio State would win the title after losing to Michigan last year either. So, man, what a game.
Michigan was Ohio State's second loss.
Well, that's true because they narrowed it.
That shirt you're wearing right there.
Right. Man, but Thomas Castellanos, the transfer out of Boston College, calls his shot and delivers.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Well, and Alabama goes right down the field with their first series, just pounding the rock right up their throat. And then Tony White made some adjustments, and Alabama couldn't do shit.
Now, even though Alabama scored on the first drive and kind of methodically went down the field, it was difficult because they had to convert multiple third and mediums on the way there. And so in Florida State, the way they were flying around, similar to the way I would describe USF versus Boise, Florida State's defense was laying the wood to Alabama. And that is so hard to wrap your mind around because if this was 5 years ago, that's not something that's taken place. That's actually flipped.
Yeah.
So holy cow, dude. But I would definitely say that the addition of Tony White and the addition of Gus Malzahn and the addition of Thomas Castellanos was obviously the huge oh gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? The huge game changers.
Yeah.
Game changers in the game. So
Yeah, that was.
And I've been seeing people talk about like, oh my gosh, fire Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah, no.
I mean, Bama, you're not firing Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah. After what is that? 14 games now.
Yeah, and it is kind of interesting. I think you sent it to me, or somebody did. The 5-5 thing in the last 10
Yeah,
for
Levi
Bama.
sent it to us.
Okay, Levi sent that. So Bama's 5-5 in their last 10 games. Like I never thought in my life I would ever see that stat line. So
and then that was DeBoer's fourth loss to an unranked team, and Saban only lost 4 unranked games in his career.
That's crazy. Like that alone.
But like they want to talk about Saban this, and they're trying to compare him and all that. But like, do they forget Saban lost to Louisiana Monroe? Like,
yeah.
Come on. And
well, here's the interesting comparison that I've been seeing a lot, just surfing around on some, comments on here and there on some random stuff is people are starting to say this at Bama, that this is kind of the Solich era for Bama. Now, if you don't know the Husker history, you obviously need to understand the difference or what Solich had to endure following Tom Osborne's 60-3 run. Is largely what Kalen DeBoer is doing after Nick Saban's run. So it's one of those things, and you come out of into this new NIL era where Bama's not the only squad paying players and that kind of stuff, that I would argue Saban had a benefit of, which that's arguable, I guess, and there's maybe no proof there, but it's just different, and it's hard to win. It's hard to win football games.
There's proof. Go watch Leonard Fournette on Bussin' with the Boys. He talks about the money that was going around the SEC.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Fournette did not hold back.
That's why I love seeing all this, like the SEC can't dominate these freaking first week games, against the other Power 4 conferences. So
the other thing is get used to it, Bama, because Kalen DeBoer's buyout is upper 20, lower 30 millions for the next 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you ain't not with rev share right now. DeBoer's there. DeBoer's going to be fine. Ty Simpson, I was a little disappointed in, but it was his first start.
You just, it's the same thing. Like we keep, like, isn't that the common theme that we're going through right now? Like all these quarterbacks, first start, and he's not Jalen Milroe. He brought a little bit of mobility to it, but and then it was raining and it was wet, and it was just like he was the Alabama O-line. Like this was not that you saw like in years past where they were giving an Alabama quarterback a comfortable pocket all game long. Like he was running for his life and just completely under duress the whole time.
And I think it's funny that everyone wants to talk about these first-year quarterbacks, starters, and all that. Like, not like Klubnik lit the world on fire last night, and he's in his third year.
Right, and that's one of the things too, and I think that's why Klubnik's getting so much Heisman hype too.
Yeah. Do you want to jump into that LSU Clemson? We've kind of talked about Bama and Florida State now.
Yeah. So I want to talk about this Klubnik love because in the last 2 years, he's been a liability for them in terms of throwing the football. So what changed? What changed here with his skill set that makes him a Heisman hopeful, other than the fact that he's being compared to first-year starters in large part across the board in the country, and Drew Aller? So if we had Jalen Hurts or Dylan Gabriel and Shadur Sanders back and all that stuff, Arch Manning wouldn't be getting the hype he's getting to be the Heisman favorite. But I think it's just one of those.
Sellers.
It's a changing of the guard type year where there's not a ton of returning quarterbacks that are great. And so now we're trying to figure out who those guys are going to be. And Klubnik gets to lead the charge in that because he's got experience.
Yep. So
I actually thought he played okay. I think the LSU defensive scheme really started to keep him in bay, which we just touched on a little bit ago. So,
and Clemson could never really get a run game going.
No, that was disappointing.
I feel like that's been the issue the last couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Because Maffa, he never tore the top off for Clemson.
Right. You know, and this is going to be a crazy take for me too, but like, I was never even all that impressed with Clemson's run game when Travis Etienne was there. Like, he's a great player, obviously, and has been good in the NFL for Jacksonville, but like, I've seen better, and there's an eye test that you just kind of know and get this feel and a gut feeling that, and the Clemson run game has largely not been as dynamic or explosive since ETN, and I wasn't like overly impressed with that at the time too. You know, so they just lack. I think they just lack really dynamic playmakers, and part of that is probably Dabo's recruiting strategy and program, and you know how he likes to build stuff and develop. So
now, for all the talk about Klubnik being the best quarterback, and I know I've been very hard on him. Nussmeier put his name into that argument.
Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah.
It helps when you have dudes like he was putting balls in really, really good spots that only his guys can get. But his guys were getting to the ball too in really difficult spots to catch the ball. Like there was one, I think is it Alex Anderson? Is that number one?
I would have to look it up.
He's for LSU. He kind of made all those plays in the third quarter for them. Kind of started tearing it open, and he got one like down by his ankle. Like it was crazy, you know, like pinned it against his leg and was able to haul it in, you know, like so if you have dynamic playmakers that are able to haul in the ball like that, you know, helps the quarterback's stat line at the end of the day.
And it helped the SEC because they weren't having a great day.
No, like LSU really picked SEC up as a conference.
Yeah.
Because if they had dropped that game, like you lose Bama, you lose Texas, obviously, and I mean Georgia would have been the only top group that had won in the top 10 out of that conference. So, and they didn't play. I mean, they played Marshall. So
yeah. And then I saw an interesting take today. It was the best thing that could have happened for college football was LSU win that game last night. Because had they not, why would the SEC make these big games in week one?
Sure.
So he's like, you need it split down the field, but he's also very biased towards the SEC. So
yeah, I don't know. Like I like we obviously we've talked about their schedule change, and it's going to be a 9-game conference schedule, and the +1 is that big game too outside of it, I believe.
Yeah, P4 game.
Yeah, so it's just I don't know. I don't really have any opinion on it. Like I don't think that it necessarily changes anything had LSU lost that game. I think it's just more proof in the pudding that
there's more
that NIL has changed college football for the better, so that way we can see some more extra parity, you know, and or from a conference standpoint, you know, not just at the end of the day which SEC school is going to dominate somebody in the BCS championship or whatever. You know, so.
And it's the Saban effect.
That's true too.
Now there was a couple night games we watched. I can't claim I made it very far.
Yeah,
I made it till about halftime. But
oh my gosh, dude!
Like we've been saying, Utah's back.
Utah put on a flippin' show, dude. Like Devin Dampier out of New Mexico, coming over from New Mexico, was dynamic.
Yeah.
And UCLA, to me, some of the plays they were making early in the game, you could tell it was just like eventually they just kind of started tucking their tail between their legs.
I know Nico was.
I think they have an athletic group, and I think they're going to be okay offensively, but Utah brought their systematic, traditional, tough-ass defense and now added a dude. Like this is like Cam Rising's running ability when he's healthy on roids.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that is not something anybody wants to contend with. So man, hats off to Kyle Whittingham, honestly, in finding Dampier and getting him to get to Utah, because that is I don't know. I'm really excited to see them the rest of the year. And we were both high on Utah.
Yeah.
And I'm official, like I said last week, I said I could probably change my Big 12 pick in 2 weeks. Well, I'm changing it in 1.
Yeah.
I'm changing it to Utah, and I am not switching from there unless there's like injuries. Like there's no way. No, nobody in that conference aside from Iowa State.
Literally the biggest thing is Dampier's health.
Yeah. Man, he needs to learn how to protect himself a little bit too. And I don't know if you didn't maybe not see all of it, but
I saw early. He took off on a scramble right between the tackles, gets right to the first down line, and just like John Elway's Super Bowl when he gets hit low, up high, sidewinder, like that was, I saw that one.
Yeah, he's definitely fearless, and you like to see your quarterback be fearless, but not at the expense of, potentially hurting a special season. And granted, its juices are flowing. It's UCLA and the storylines they have with Nico.
Yeah.
And honestly, he took off and ran for UCLA on a bunch of plays there in the third quarter, and they obviously got blown out 43 to 10.
He finished 11 for 22, Nico.
In passing?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's just UCLA's tough defense. Utah's tough defense. Like, I think that UCLA is going to actually be able to put up points. And
the problem for UCLA, though, is what we talked about last week is if they were going to have any momentum, any hysteria and all that, it was going to be this week, and Utah shut them up real quick.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like just goes back to the idea that this is not – it's just like Florida State. Alabama did not lose to a 2-10 Florida State.
No.
UCLA did not lose to a 5-7 or whatever the heck it was. Could only score 13 points a game. Utah last year. Like that's not the same team. It's completely different. So throw that out. I think this is an anomaly because I think if Utah was in the Big Ten, and this is just me being me, like they'd be a top 3 program right now, this year. Like they'd be contending up there. So I look forward to seeing Utah be able to show what they can do in the playoff if they stay healthy.
Yep. So, and then I won't hit a whole lot because it was Colorado State. Washington looked good.
They did look good offensively, and contrary to what we talked about texting before this, they were actually okay defensively. They just gave up 3 scores on the 3 drives that Colorado State had that were good.
Yeah.
So I'm also going to say, like, I know that Braden Fowler, Nicolosi didn't play fantastic, but Colorado's, I did kind of give a little bit of a call to them because I think you were telling me that they should just forget about this game at all.
Yeah,
look forward to the next one.
Yeah, I said that they wouldn't face anybody until Ohio State.
Yeah, and so they were pushed because it was 28-21 at one point in the game, and
that's when I fell asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that the text I sent you was DeMond looks great, defense is in trouble. And then that's when you hit me with all the stats. And I was like, I was asleep. I didn't see that part. Yeah. So what you're saying is as long as I don't watch Washington, they'll be all right.
So that's probably a bummer for you. Because I know how much of a Washington lover you are. So I will say, though, that Jonah Coleman also was a big part of that offense. Yeah. He had a great game as well.
Do you want to hit
Demond Williams? Demond Williams. He's not as thick as Dampier at New Mexico.
Yeah.
But gosh, he's got wheels, man.
Dude.
So he has wheels.
Yeah. There was a couple times I wish he would have pulled it down and ran last night where he kind of waited for the field to open up. But I mean, it's like we've talked about with Haynes King and Lenora Sellers. Those guys, like, he's got to make sure he stays healthy. So I get it. Yeah, Dante Moore is going to be all right.
I told you. I mean, Oregon took care of Montana State like it was nothing, 59-13, I think.
And that's a team that was in the championship last year in the FCS.
Yeah. Now, I did not know this because I don't follow FCS football like you do, but they have a receiver by the name of Taco.
Yeah.
And he had 14 receptions on the game for Montana State. And he's a white boy running across the field, like on little drags and stuff. I mean, it felt like every time I looked over, they're completing a pass to the same kid, number 14.
Yeah.
7-yard drag, and then just get you just get buried out of bounds. Yeah. But like, oh man, you must. Any Montana State fans ever listening to this? You got a good receiver there.
Yeah. DeCorian Moore. Yeah, he's gonna be all right.
Did you see the video of him blocking?
No.
On the perimeter? Okay, so I'll have to show you this after this episode or something, or give you a link. But he was blocking downfield on a touchdown, and he drove the corner or safety, whichever one he was blocking, to the end zone, 10 to 12 yards, and then finished him off with a pancake in the center of the end zone, just buried him. Yeah. And so they asked Dan Lanning about it, and Lanning was like, "Oh, it's a great effort by Moore, but he was blocking the wrong dude."
Oh, that's great.
So, yeah.
They had 3 different quarterbacks score a touchdown for him. Oregon.
Oh yeah, I kind of just was kind of glancing
because they had Moore scored, Novosad scored, and then they had a legacy whose dad played for Oregon. He came in Mora or something like that. He came in. He got a score.
Oh gosh, I don't even know. Like that's how much like. I mean, I'm an Oregon guy, but I don't.
So, I got to hit on one thing. As you talked about a big FCS guy, I was watching South Dakota State and Sac State. Mm-hmm. I found Jaden Rashada.
Oh my gosh!
Quarterback of Sac State.
We could not. Oh, I think I knew that actually. Now that you say that.
Yeah.
Oh man, because aren't they were trying to?
They're trying to get into the Pac-12.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Because they have an ungodly amount of money for NIL.
Yeah.
And so they've already got out of the conference they're in the FCS. They're trying to get up to D1, but they were denied this year, so they got to wait to try again.
Well, I can't wait till they do, so that way USC can schedule them. So,
yeah. So it was
after the 73 points that USC put up on Missouri State yesterday.
Missouri State's not good.
But bad.
Yeah. By the way, South Dakota State kicked the shit out of them. So South Dakota State's going to be in the running for another title.
Oh yeah, of course.
Their former quarterback went to Iowa and put on a clinic. See that? 46 passing yards.
46 passing yards and 30 some on the ground.
Yeah.
Nice job, Gronowski.
So,
but that's just typical Iowa. Oh my
and then they'll come back and beat Nebraska at the end of the season.
Right.
And Iowa fans, that's their Super Bowl, so they'll be happy. And
yeah, well, when you've never been to the top ever, like you have to lean on something. And apparently, if that's 3-9, beating 3-9 in Nebraska every year, then good goal, Iowa.
Hey, it gets Kirk Ferentz an extra year extension every year. So.
Oh, dude! Speaking of Kirk Ferentz.
I don't want to talk about this.
One win away from all-time lead in the Big Ten for wins.
Yeah.
Puke.
Yeah. He's the longest tenured coach in college football.
Right. And it's like that's disgusting to even think that Kirk Ferentz.
26 years, and what do they have for a trophy? I think they won like a Mobile Bowl once.
I think I mentioned this quarterback, Brad Banks. Didn't they win their big bowl game with him at quarterback?
Yeah, they won an Orange Bowl.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought.
They won one with Ricky Stanzi, too, in 2013. But still, no conference titles, no playoff appearances.
No.
As Colin Coward says, they're the fake ID of college football. No.
Are we going to that game next week?
No, I want to.
I think you're going
to We joke, but I do respect their program. I don't respect Ferentz. I respect the hell out of their defensive coordinator.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
Dude,
Iowa plays a brand of defense that is just
defense and special teams.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, when they went down 7-0 to Albany.
Yeah.
And I have the Iowa defense.
7-3.
I have the Iowa defense on our fantasy league, and I was like, of course.
Yeah.
And then obviously it was Iowa just did Iowa things, and won to the tune of 34-7 and probably had 48 minutes of possession time.
Yeah.
So.
And so, yeah, I know we give them a hard time, but we have a lot of listeners in Iowa, so I can't be too hard.
Yeah. Well, that's my job.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll go into – we had 2 games today. South Carolina and Virginia Tech, and we got to see what we talked about with South Carolina is they got to fix that offensive line. They won the game. They also had a huge punt return to completely flip the momentum because that was a 11-8 at that point, or 10-8.
For the longest time, I thought we were watching college baseball.
Yeah,
on the box score.
Yeah, it was 10-8. They got the punt return touchdown, and then they scored another touchdown late. But it's like, how many times was Lenore Sellers on his ass? Like,
yeah, and
finally, he just threw a bomb up to the track star Nick Harbor, and
I actually did not get to watch a ton of this game. We were running errands and stuff this morning and didn't quite get to sit down. And then I actually took a nap knowing I had to record tonight. So after last night's staying up for Utah.
Yeah.
But anyway, what shocked me the most was actually.
And Deliverance. You can't forget about Deliverance.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Jeez.
I cried so hard when you sent me that text.
Yeah.
I showed my wife and she was in tears. It was.
Oh, man.
God.
So in any case, Kyron Drones, who
I've been talking about.
Yep. Yeah, I think he's a good athlete, and I knew that he was not the greatest passer, but he was 15 of 35 in this game. Jeez. 15 of 35 for 220 yards. So he reached what Dylan Raiola passed for in half the passes. Yeah. So there you go. There's my shot at Nebraska's offensive philosophy because I'm actually not really that happy with that, but in any case, but that's because I like people like Florida State. I love the sideways action and the jet sweep and push the ball down the field and
what was Sellers?
Sellers was 12 of 19 for 209.
Yeah, and sacked how many times?
4.
Yeah.
So
he was running for his life a lot today.
Yeah.
South Carolina got the win, but I wouldn't be screaming and hollering. That was a lot to work on.
I mean, and that game was tight throughout. I think 10-8 at halftime.
Yep.
And so that's another one though. Think if Clemson ends up pulling that out last night, and then think if Virginia Tech, finds a way to can make those field goals be touchdowns.
Yeah.
And then you're thinking holy crap, the 4 of the top 12 SEC teams are in the nation, or because South Carolina's preseason ranked 12. So that would have been a wild. I was just hopeful, but you can never have your cake and eat it too, right?
Yeah.
So.
And then we had tonight's game, which you got to watch a lot of it with us. Mario Cristobal got a big win, and quite frankly,
contrary to the norm,
this
was the anomaly. Typically, Cristobal's on the other end of these things.
I just don't get why they didn't get Jeremiah Love involved as much.
Yeah, I don't know. I was telling my buddy, so our listener over there in Omaha, that he kind of stated that he talked about Jeremiah Love too, and I was kind of saying how, Well, when you don't push the ball down the field, this is going to feel like a broken record.
Yeah.
Then the linebackers in the second level, they're not able to, or they're not going to be on their heels. So you have to manipulate the box somehow at that second level to make it so they're not playing downhill in the run game, which they're totally expecting from Jeremiah Love to be a part of that game plan, right? Now, Notre Dame is starting their quarterback for the first time ever, C.J. Carr.
Yeah.
So same story as the games that we talked about before. And they didn't push the ball down the field all that much either to try to open up the.
They did there at the end, and they were having success.
Right, but too little, too late, right?
Yeah.
So and by that time, the heat and humidity is probably starting to get to you a little bit with how they say that works in Miami.
Yeah,
and
it was raining all game.
Right, so it's just one of those things that. Like it's kind of the whole Art Briles Baylor philosophy. Like you don't just spread vertically, you spread horizontally. Like I think he was the king at doing that offensively. And so like you saw Notre Dame, like the first few throws and be those bubble screens, tunnel screens, everything horizontal. Get him in rhythm, all that kind of stuff. But you're not getting the defense to play backing up. Because you're not a threat to push the ball vertically, right? So they're still able to be coming downhill at those bubble screens, tunnel screens. Linebackers are flowing hard. So again, that just goes back to philosophy and just basic football. Like manipulate the defensive box.
Yeah, I thought Carson Beck played well. He's healthy. He looks healthy. I know there's a lot of questions about where he'd be at, but I thought he looked good. Miami's got a 3-headed horse there at running back, and
boy from Omaha.
Yeah, well, Shamar Brown. Who's got the best freshman receiver with DeCorian Moore and Malachi Toney? Because them two put on some shows this weekend.
Well, I would give the edge to Toney so far.
Yeah,
just from
playing tougher competition.
Well, absolutely. Made an impact in the national game, and the Corey and Moore, like nobody watched that game. It was on BTN, so it was only regional audience.
Yeah.
So.
Which is Big Ten really regional anymore? We're coast to coast, baby.
Well, that's true. I guess.
Like Matt Rule says.
Sitting here in Nebraska, we're talking about Oregon being in the regional, and it's like, well, okay, never mind. So everybody's able to watch that probably.
Yeah. But no. Malachi Toney's going to be a dude.
Yeah, no, it was impressive. Miami had athletes. Their offensive line dominated, as your boy Josh Pate that you listen to a lot of, he predicted. I didn't know. I did not expect. I mean, I expected from a philosophical standpoint from Mario Cristobal that he's going to lean hard into the run game because that's just who he is. I did not actually expect Miami's offensive line to handle Notre Dame's D-line in the way that they did.
Yeah, and that's what Pate, for his picks, he took Miami, and he said it was because of their offensive line.
Yeah.
He trusted them more.
Yeah. So that's interesting. What a nice little race in the ACC.
Yeah.
Between the traditional powers.
How big is this October 4th game now between Miami and Florida State?
Yeah, I'm glad that it's kind of early because that way you can have some weeks go by. Because I think ultimately, that's obviously a potential rematch in the ACC title game. I mean, Clemson's obviously not going away with their defense,
and their loss was out of conference. So.
Right, and obviously I think Clemson's defense is going to keep them in a lot of games. But the way that Miami's defense played and the way that Florida State was flying around like we talked about, I don't see Clemson having enough firepower to contend with Florida State, first of all. And Miami, I don't know. I mean, because Notre Dame putting up 24 points, they're not the most explosive offense. I mean, it is their best receiving group, according to Marcus Freeman. But again, Miami's going to see better offenses than Notre Dame from an explosive standpoint. I mean, Florida State is, so anyway.
So, well, kind of.
Do you want to segue right into some power rankings?
I was going to do our MVPs.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Go MVPs. That's right.
So our Main Street MVPs for the weekend. I know we still have one game to go. Haynes King, 13 to 20, 143 yards passing, 19 runs, 156 yards, and 3 touchdowns in a win over Colorado.
Yep.
This one, Gino Sam.
Oh, no. You are cutting out, my boy. Well, while he is cutting out, I'm going to just kind of fill the air with some talking until he resets his connection. I can't remember exactly who he had with MVPs, but those of you who are listening, I'm going to pull it up quickly. And he had... I already talked about Haynes King, who played an awesome game, obviously. Oh, Cody. Yep, he just left the chat. So, Jonah Coleman, he's probably going to repeat these. Rocco Becht from Iowa State. Daniel Wingate from Maryland. Some dudes that had some really good performances this weekend. Okay, just bear with us here. Yeah, okay. So you had Haynes King, 13 of 20 for 143, 19 rushes for 156 yards and 3 touchdowns. Then he goes to Sam Levitt from Arizona State, 25 of 39 passing, 257 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. And yeah. Then he had 2 touchdowns on the ground as well for 73 yards rushing on 7 attempts. Byron Brown, obviously USF, South Florida, in that win over Boise State. Daniel Wingate, the defensive player from Maryland, had 10 tackles, a tackle for loss, an interception, and a touchdown. Rocco Becht from Iowa State was 19 of 20 for 278 yards and 3 touchdowns. 1 incompletion. That's crazy. Jonah Coleman, Washington running back, 22 rushes for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns. Devin Dampier from Utah was 21 of 25 for 206 as the quarterback of Utah for 2 touchdowns. He had 16 rushes for 87 yards as well and another touchdown. John Mateer, a guy that we've been high on at Oklahoma with that the transfer from Washington State. He's 30 of 37 for 392 and 3 touchdowns and an interception. 7 rushes for 24 yards and a touchdown. So those are some of your MVPs. Also Marcel Reed from Texas A&M. So anyway, I think Cody's jumping back in here.
That was wild.
Okay, so I just read off all of your MVPs.
Okay.
To Phil while you were trying to come back in here. I know that you were having a little technical issue there.
Yeah, that was. Say, TV's still working, internet's still working, laptop just said, screw you.
Yeah. So the last time we had something like that happen, the audio, like you have this awkward silence because I was just like, So wanted to try to fill it this time for the recording on our podcast on Spotify.
Yeah. So the one that jumped out for me, I didn't watch Navy, so I'm not sure if Blake Horvat got hurt or what happened, but this Braxton Woodson comes in, 7 carries, 180 yards.
Yeah, that's crazy. I want to go back and watch that game.
Yeah.
I wonder, was that televised on it?
Yeah, it was on before it might have been on after Air Force.
Okay. Interesting.
So I know we got our 20 minutes of Air Force football in yesterday.
That's awesome. Like, I'm curious. What time did they play yesterday?
Yeah, you'd have to double check on that.
Oh, there it is. They played Virginia. They played Virginia Military or VMI.
VMI. Yep, Virginia Military Institute.
Yeah, it's recorded on the old TV. I might have to turn that on while
that one tomorrow.
Yeah, I might turn it on now tonight.
Yeah, that was something. And man, the other ones, there's a couple guys that didn't make the list that we have talked about. Malik Washington went for 370 yards in his debut for Maryland, 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've been talking about, I know you've hit on all these guys already, but you've been talking about the efficiency of Rocco Becht.
Bingo. I just went over that. Yep. Yeah. 19 of 20.
Yeah.
Holy crap, dude.
That was awesome. So now those were the 10 that stood out to me. Had to, add, delete a bunch of guys and come back. But, I mean, yeah, those – I probably could have done a little better at finding some defenders. But
well, you can look no further than Malcolm Hartzog. Probably throw him on there with that game saving, because I've been thinking about this multiple times, and I really don't want to go back to the Nebraska thing. But if he is a half a second late on that coverage coming out of that cover 2, because they were sitting in cover 2, some sort of cover 2 hybrid, because Sierra Wright was playing underneath the receiver, so he had flat responsibility, and then just obviously trailed. They were kind of double bracketing him a little bit, but if Hartzog is late getting over there from that safety position, Nebraska loses the game.
Yeah,
the fact that perfect. MVP right there, even though.
Well, and he had earlier in the game, Hartzog's the one that broke up that touchdown, where the guy had it for a second, and then Hartzog comes and drags through and breaks up the touchdown pass third quarter.
Yeah. So
he also is the reason that Cincinnati got down the field, but he made up for it.
Right, with the penalty. With the penalty before that, the play before that. So
yeah, questionable. Let's get into power rankings.
Right on, dude. So we're doing these power rankings this week. I think we're going to do that on a weekly basis, kind of just a track for the people here, where we think it's not really a ranking in terms of what you think in terms of top 25. It's more of a power ranking. So it's a week-to-week thing. It's a less of an emphasis on camera tracking things that aren't even me. Less emphasis on totality rather than or less emphasis on the totality and more emphasis on that week's performances. So we're going to start with the ACC because it's obvious where we're probably going to go, but I'm going to start at the bottom because I went all the way from the very bottom to the top, and look no further at the bottom of the ACC than Stanford. Got them at 17. My dear word, we gave them enough airtime a couple of weeks ago, talking about are they going to go 0-12? That's a bigger story than some other people have,
Yeah.
And well, Hawaii beat Stanford 2 weeks ago in week 0, and then proceeded to get beat by Arizona 40-6. And our guy that we gave a shout out, whatever he was, Micah Alejado, he was not very good in that game. So
I wonder where his health's at, because he got banged up at the end of that Stanford game.
Well, that's right. And so in any case, Stanford, you're at the bottom of the ACC right now, and not very far behind them.
I do have a correction I want to make.
Okay, go for it.
Did not know that, I'm drawing a blank on his name. I just texted you it earlier. Chandler Morris transferred to Virginia.
Oh yeah, because your little Virginia pick is like
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah. Well,
They're not
Chandler
beating
Morris is a
Virginia.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, they ain't losing or they ain't beating Virginia.
No, the only game that they're potentially going to win is San Jose State, who did get beat by Central Michigan this weekend. So, I mean, that's really the
I think
only
you
one.
actually watched part of that.
I did. I watched it on the small one.
Yeah.
Central Michigan was like running some old school power offensive stuff, which was kind of fun to watch. They have a big freaking back, big burly dude that's like an old Husker eye back, like Dan Alexander. Okay. Anyway, so just ahead of Stanford is the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. They narrowly escaped beating Kennesaw State 10-9 this week.
I saw that.
That's
they were
crazy.
losing that game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was watching the bottom of the screen and they were showing the updates.
Right. So if you have a rebuttal when we do these power rankings, if you want to stop me and like kind of be like, oh, I'm not sure I agree with that or whatever, like go for it. Like let's debate it,
So far, I'm right on board.
That's the easy one.
Yeah.
Okay. And some of these are, I will say.
And we'll keep it going quick because if we're going to do 4 conferences plus a couple G5 teams.
Yeah, we're just got to, this first one, we got to kind of like set the ground rules. And on week 1, it's hard to decipher with all these PUD games too. So after Wake Forest, going north would be NC State. They defeated ECU 24-17. Then I actually put Syracuse just ahead of them. And they actually played a respectable game against Tennessee, kind of, at times. But they lost that game to Tennessee. Then I have North Carolina, because you don't know. They play tomorrow night, or tonight if you're listening to it. Then I have Virginia Tech at 11, Cal at 10, Boston College at 9, Duke at 8, SMU at 7, Louisville at 6, Pitt at 5, Georgia Tech at 4, Clemson, despite the loss, still sitting there at 3. Their defense is going to be a nightmare for a lot of those other ACC schools. Miami at 2 after that win over Notre Dame, and Florida State, I am putting them at the top of the conference now. So that's where I have the ACC's power rankings currently after week 1.
The only one that I might fight you on is Duke might be a little higher because Darian Mensah lit it up yesterday. But we have next week. We can look forward to that because they play Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it Illinois? Maybe Illinois.
Illinois.
Yeah, so we'll get to see how good Mensah is.
Yeah, so that's the ACC. Then we're going to move over to the Big 12. And the Big 12.
How fun.
Yeah, this was hard. Like I sat here like, how do you order these? Any guesses to who I have at the bottom? I think it's easy to know who I'm going to put at the top.
At the bottom?
Who's at the bottom?
Can I give who my bottom would be?
It might be the same. I think we're probably on the same page.
Is he a former coach?
What? No.
I would say UCF.
No, it's not. I have them actually just above last.
Okay.
So I have UCF there. So I have Kansas State at the bottom.
Yeah, they got some issues.
They have, Dylan Edwards just left the program. Avery Johnson's family's fighting each other.
Literally.
physically and getting filmed in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And they just barely beat North Dakota. North Dakota 38-35. Like North Dakota needed one stop to win that game. They were leading until Kansas State took the lead with a minute left. And we've
been saying this. Kleiman, run the fucking football with Avery Johnson.
What
are you doing?
It's unbelievable. Look around the country.
Look how they won that game.
Yeah.
Avery took over.
It was a 25-yard run that put him first and goal at the 6.
Like, what are we doing?
So here's my issue. The
defense still gave up 35 to North Dakota.
Yes. And Oh man, Kansas State's got problems. Anyway, let's just keep moving.
Yeah, UCF.
Okay. Then you have Central Florida just scraping by, beating Jacksonville State 17-10, blaming Lincoln on the way. Well, it's probably Nebraska's fault that they didn't score more points.
Do you want to hit on that little stat I texted you? His first game at UCF.
Oh.
There was a hurricane. Got canceled.
Yeah.
First game at Nebraska against Akron. Tornado warning. Canceled. First game at UCF. Freaking severe thunderstorm and lightning gets delayed 3 hours. Like, that dude cannot win in openers. Oh, my God. Hold on. Keep going. I'll be right back. I got a hamstring cramp.
Oh, I wondered. I was like, what the heck are you doing over here?
Oh.
You need to eat some bananas, buddy. Okay. Anyway.
I'm good.
So we're going to go from UCF. Then I'm going to Houston because I don't know anything about Houston. They beat Stephen F.
Supposed to be pretty good.
Stephen F. Austin 27-0. That's it. That's all I know. And I know they were bad last year. Then I have Oklahoma State, who could easily be.
Quarterback is Wayman, the starting quarterback from Texas A&M last year.
Okay.
Before Marcel Reed took over.
Okay. Then I have Arizona. Then I have BYU, West Virginia, TCU.
Stop real quick. The text you sent me on BYU.
Oh,
the final score.
69-0, and they broke because of that they broke the honor code. Yeah, that's funny.
That was fantastic. Good on you, BYU.
Yeah.
Did the kicker miss the extra point?
Yeah, I don't know. They must. I mean, kicker. I mean, that's all the kicker right there. He gets to control that. So he probably thought about it after their 6th touchdown, how easy this was going. They're like, well,
he's trying to go down to Tulane with Retzlaff.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Then I got TCU after West Virginia. Even though they're off, but just the expectation of them probably. Yeah. Then I actually have Cincinnati sitting there after that loss to Nebraska ahead of TCU because I do think that our defensive backs, held them so out of sorts, so much out of sorts offensively that Cincinnati's, I think they're going to be good. Then I have Colorado, despite the loss to Georgia Tech. I actually think that this is crazy. I think they played pretty okay defensively. They gave up 462 yards of offense and over 300 on the ground. But it just keeps going back to the idea of us saying how it's so hard to deal with Georgia Tech's offense for 4 quarters. Because that game was highly contested the whole time. And I thought that Colorado's defense was flying around at with similar energy to Florida State. So I expect Colorado to be better than that 5.5 over under that Vegas put out. Then I have Baylor. Went over that. Arizona State, they kind of struggled a little bit last night. That game was that was weird with Northern Arizona. Only 38-19.
Yeah.
Sam Levitt went off, as we discussed. I discussed on the MVPs while your technological issues were being sorted out. And Jordan Tyson, the receiver, had 14 catches.
Yeah. Northern Arizona's got a new football coach, too.
Okay. Well, still.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I have Kansas at 4 in the Big 12.
Jalen Daniels, stay healthy.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Texas Tech at 3. They were ahead of, it's Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Yeah.
But they were ahead of 35-0 in the first quarter, something stupid like that.
Did you see the video of that thunderstorm moving in over the stadium with the shelf cloud?
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. Badass. Especially for us who, you and I are weather nerds. So
yeah, right.
That was so cool.
Okay, so then after this, I actually originally had these flipped just because I was like, well, I didn't want to just go all in on putting Florida State at the top of their conference and Utah at the top of their conference right away. But I put Iowa State at 2, which I originally had at 1. Yeah. And only did I pull them down below Utah because of K-State's freaking ineptitude versus North Dakota, because that totally puts a damper on Iowa State, like in my opinion. And Iowa State, like we've said it a million times, what they can do with their 4 tight ends personnel-wise is such a problem for defenses. Like, they are going to be an issue for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And Ben Bramer had,
he went off.
Yeah.
Have you seen the stat about the team that loses in Ireland? Go look at the teams that have played in Ireland and look at the records of the team that lost. Who is the team that lost in Ireland last year?
Florida State.
Who was it before that?
Nebraska. That's bad.
Yeah. How's Kansas State looking right now?
Oh my gosh. If they follow that trajectory, like, they should start banning Ireland games.
They've already announced the Ireland game next year.
Who is it?
TCU and North Carolina.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Gosh dang. Well,
which is weird. So TCU's got to go to North Carolina, and the reverse side of that home and homes is in Ireland.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Unless it's a 3-year schedule.
Okay, I'm going to go away for about 25 seconds to plug my computer in.
Okay.
So fill the air here.
Yeah, I got you. A little bit on that. I would be with the Big 12. I am definitely high on your picks with Iowa State, Utah, Arizona State. Texas Tech, they have a lot of options at receiver. They used them all last night. Morton is going to have his pick of the litter of where he wants to go. But like we mentioned, it was Arkansas Pine Bluff, so I'll be interested to see where that goes. Kansas State they're in trouble. So hopefully they can get some things figured out, whether it is getting Avery Johnson involved in the run game more. But, yeah, and then Utah at the top. We don't know what UCLA is going to be. Old conference rivals there coming from the Pac-12. But, I mean, it's just Whittingham. A lot of people wrote him off because he had the one bad year. His defense is back. His offense is looking good in one game. So I agree with that. Utah at number 1. And a lot of these are going to be knee-jerk reactions off of week 1. But
yep,
I liked where you had Cincinnati. I think they're not going to be world beaters by any means, but I think they're going to be the top half of the conference. They're going to go to a bowl game, probably end up with about 7 wins.
Right. So I put them right there at 8. So yeah. And a win over Kansas at the end of the month could change all of that, So.
Yeah, I kind of want to go.
Yeah, dude. Like, let's
go
to the game.
It's 2-hour
in
drive.
Lawrence. What is wrong with my camera?
Yeah.
It's like tracking my ears. All right, let's move to the Big Ten.
Big Ten.
Let's do the SEC first because we want to
save the best conference for last.
Yep. Okay. So let's go from the bottom to the top. I was kind of shocked to see this result at the bottom. Kentucky defeated Toledo 24-16.
Yeah. They got a lot of transfers.
I still expected more from oh my gosh, dude, I'm sorry. I expected more from Kentucky, honestly, in a game like this.
Well, a lot of people were picking Kentucky to lose that game.
Why?
Because Toledo beat Mississippi State last year. I think that's the only thing they're going off of.
I disagree with that all. Like, I mean, whatever, I suppose. Okay, let's move on. Mississippi State, obviously, sitting there right above Kentucky. Then I have Diego Pavia Mania at the next spot. They beat Charleston Southern 45-3. But, they had a good year last year, obviously, but they're not.
It's Vanderbilt.
Tradition, you got to do it again. Like, you got to prove it again. Like, that's just how your program is. So then I have Arkansas, Texas A&M, Tennessee, South Carolina, Oklahoma, Missouri. I left Bama in the top 7. They're right there at 7 after losing to
Let's see how
Florida
they do
State.
in 3 weeks at Georgia.
Yeah. Then I have Ole Miss, Auburn at 5. I could have flopped those two, but whatever. Then Florida, Texas at 3. Then I have Georgia and LSU. I have LSU at the top.
Yeah.
I mean, beating Clemson, the way their defense played, already beating a dead horse with this. Yeah. Georgia didn't play anybody.
The way Nussmeier played.
Yeah. I mean, Texas is obviously doesn't deserve to drop too far off of that. Like, I asked you guys this. Speaking of Texas, I asked you guys this the other day and nobody said anything. Has anybody ever gone 0-1 to start the year and stay in the top 5?
I'm sure recently, probably.
The answer to that, according to ChatGPT, is actually no. It was in like 1968 that it was possible for a Michigan team because it was some deal where they ended up being ranked 4th after a loss, but they weren't inside the top 5 before the loss.
No, I think it'll happen now because so many teams lost.
Sure, but like
Clemson losing and Notre Dame losing and
yeah. So okay, well that's the SEC. Any rebuttals on any of that?
Maybe Auburn being a little too high.
Okay,
that's about it.
Yep. That's all right, but they had a good win. That Baylor team, I gave them a lot of credit for that one because it was in Waco, obviously too. Yeah. So,
Tennessee also. That
being that low.
No, Joey Aguilar looked good. Tennessee's defense kind of let me down.
Well, I had them only ahead of A&M, Arkansas, Vandy, Mississippi State, Kentucky.
Yeah, A&M struggled last night too.
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, Tennessee has the better win there by very similar scores.
Yeah.
So and I don't know. I think honestly I probably put South Carolina a little bit lower than what I should have.
Yeah.
But
it's close.
Their offense.
They're like the Big Ten where you have your top couple teams and then every week it's going to be different.
Sure, yeah.
Not Big Ten.
Big Ten.
I know who the last team is.
Well, that's not hard to figure out. So,
maybe if you're going to a town that's celebrating Hurricane Katrina 20 years later, don't tell them they can't wear their Hurricane Katrina uniforms.
Yeah, dude. What the heck? Oh, man. When I heard that, I was like, you serious? Like, you're going to be that big of a little biatch?
Petty.
Yeah.
I thought Preston Stone would do something.
There. Petty.
I can see why Preston Stone got benched last year.
Oh, my gosh. They had 5 turnovers, and he threw some of the worst. I watched most of that game because it was an 11 o'clock game.
Yeah.
And he threw some balls that were nowhere near the receiver in terms of where the receiver was actually open on a couple of them, like going down the sideline, and he couldn't get the ball there, that the underneath corner was able to just turn his head and catch the ball.
If only they had a coach that they would win those games that randomly got fired.
They ran off when he did nothing wrong. Yeah, okay.
All right, now is where I'm interested to see how the rest of this lines up.
Okay. So I think the next 4 could have been reordered, and I went with UCLA to be right above Northwestern. And the more that I think about that, the more I'm just like, okay, that's really harsh considering I put Utah at the top of their conference. Yeah. I'm much more disappointed with Rutgers, who's after that is the next team, and their win over Ohio, like 34-31 over Ohio. Are you kidding me?
They were up, 28-7, I think, at one point?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like they totally let Ohio come back in. But anyway, then you go to Wisconsin, who we've been high on being better.
Yeah.
Offensively, they did not show that. They struggled offensively. They won 17-0. Their defense was great, obviously. It's Miami, Ohio.
They didn't cover.
Did not cover the spread, but won 17-0. And Wisconsin, people in Madison are pissed.
Yeah.
Over that. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody hold an opponent to the goose egg and have their fans be pissed.
Yeah.
So, in any case, but I understand the expectation.
Yeah.
So then the next one was kind of surprising and good for them. Purdue beating Ball State 31-0. Like, I have them up there as right above Wisconsin.
Yeah. I didn't watch any of the Purdue game.
I didn't either, but I saw the result and was like, well, that's better than...
Especially because I think Game Day picked Ball State to beat Purdue.
Did they? I didn't even see that.
Yeah, when they do their Superdog picks, one of the guys picked Ball State over Purdue.
Okay. Well, then, so this is where it gets really hairy because this is so close.
Yeah, it's the Big Ten middle of the pack group.
Yeah, so here's so I went Northwestern, UCLA, Rutgers, Wisconsin, Purdue, going up, Minnesota. That was kind of a disappointment from an offensive standpoint. Washington, I have them because I should not have put them there. I'm going to actually switch that now.
Yeah, there's one team that should be fifth from the bottom that you haven't mentioned.
So I am going to switch. I have Indiana after that.
You're forgetting one.
Well, let's just go through it. Okay. So I had Washington, Indiana, Michigan State, Michigan, Maryland, Nebraska, Iowa.
Iowa's way too high. That's what I was waiting for. Iowa's way too high.
I don't know, dude. Their defense just...
It was Albany.
Yeah, but that's they're not going to light up the scoreboard for 60. That's just not what Iowa does.
I know, but it was Albany.
So I don't know.
They threw for 50 yards.
They don't have to.
Yeah.
They don't got to throw for anything more than that.
We'll find out next week.
Okay. So then we went with...
I agree with where you have Nebraska.
Okay, so I have Nebraska, Iowa, USC at 5, Illinois at 4, Oregon at 3, Penn State, then Ohio State at 1. But like we said, from Iowa, Nebraska, Maryland, Michigan State, Indiana, Washington. Well, Indiana should have been lower than Washington. I think Washington's probably closer to that Nebraska spot.
Yeah.
So
it's tough because they all are on the same.
And I don't know what to think about Maryland because, like, I know it's Florida Atlantic, but Florida Atlantic's a better opponent than Old Dominion and Albany, and so I don't know. That's why I'm already waiting. I'm already itching for week 2.
All right, well, we could throw a couple group of 5s out.
South Florida, Tulane.
Navy.
And Navy, who I'm going to watch after we're done recording. So,
yeah, I don't know a whole lot more beyond those.
Well, Tulane's got the better schedule. I don't know if we've already talked about South Florida because they got to play Miami. And we did talk about that. So, they got to play Florida and Miami. So that's 2 losses right there, theoretically.
Tulane's got Ole Miss coming up.
Oh, the G5. The G5 is going to have a 2-loss team in there, aren't they?
Navy. Well, Navy's got Notre Dame.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
And they're all in the AAC.
Yeah.
But Navy doesn't play either of them, I don't think.
So it's not going to be Missouri State.
Shoot, it could be the Delaware Blue Hens, though.
Yeah.
Who do they play this week?
I didn't see.
It's somebody. They're going somewhere that's like a big school.
Yeah.
It's like Michigan or something.
So.
It's not Michigan.
All right. Well, we'll know more next week too with the group of 5.
Yeah. So you have a little surprise for us, for those of us watching on YouTube.
So if you haven't seen this already, I'll just show it to you. Swifties, get over it. If you don't know the backstory, there was a bet between Will Compton and Travis Kelce where the loser had to wear the other person's mascot. My opinion, that's where this is going because it's a picture that's supposed to be with Travis. They just put the mascot on Travis.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of it, it's funny. That's the big news story of the week. Nebraska beat Cincinnati where Travis played football. Get over it.
I'd be willing to bet that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce both thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
But the fans of Taylor Swift who don't follow football got offended.
But going into Nebraska released a statement. Going into Nebraska's they found a job posting for the media team from a year ago, and that's how they found out all the information. And on top of that, Nebraska's media person's a female who made this joke. But sending death threats over a social media post?
I did not know that they were doing that.
Yeah, come on. What are we doing?
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that's
who's
my
rant. Who's in bigger trouble? Oh God, never mind. I'm not going to go the other route. Never mind. We'll just.
My question for you: the new rankings come out tomorrow. Who's number 1, Ohio State or Penn State?
Ohio State.
They'll jump Penn State.
You can't put Penn State in front of them because they have not proven that they can beat Ohio State. Yeah. James Franklin, his history,
But if they jump Penn State, then people say, well, why weren't they ahead of Penn State anyway?
Because they weren't expecting Texas to lose that game.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
Well, we'll be back Wednesday with our predictions for next week. A lot of big games. I know the two biggest ones are Michigan, Oklahoma, Iowa State.
And we'll review TCU and Bill Belichick's first game at North Carolina on Wednesday as well.
Hey, how about the starting quarterback going into that Oregon game? Zane Flores taking Haas Haney gets hurt. Zane Flores is going to get his first start for Oklahoma State up in Autzen.
Oh, man. He's in for a rude awakening, I think.
We'll see. Well, that's enough for us tonight. Cramps, freaking computer issues. We'll be better.
It's a vigorous.
Yeah. Follow, subscribe, 5 stars, all the good stuff. And we'll see you in a couple days.
We appreciate you guys listening.